सांगपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा ज्ञानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुराः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः.
ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We have been studying verse 47. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि. Arjuna, we have done a lot of discussion on the background of this verse, and here Arjuna is told, Karmani eva adhikarahate. Tava, for you, there is, you only have a right to action, meaning what kind of action? Karma yoga. Action doesn't mean any kind of action. Action means an action, you have the ability, you have the deservingness, if you can use that word, you have the right to be able to clean up your act in terms of action. Why? Because you are not yet qualified to go solely on the path of knowledge. It's not that he's not qualified for Atma Jnana. He is, because he's being instructed. He asked for this. So that's not the idea. So he is entitled to self-knowledge, but not entitled to walk solely on the path of self-knowledge. Why? Because he is still very much embroiled in this war and the notions of himself as a mortal and other people as mortals, and the notions of I, me, mine and theirs and all these things. And so therefore he is not totally entitled to go on a path of knowledge. He wants sannyasa, but it's more of the tough going away when the going gets tough. He wants sannyasa not as a marker of his commitment to self-knowledge, but he wants sannyasa as an out, as some kind of a being able to leave. And so that's why he is told karmani eva adhikarahate. You only have right to action here, not to the results, not for jnana. So therefore what? This is how the last portion of the first line of the verse has to be read. So therefore what? Ma phaleshu kadachana. So at no time can you produce the results that you are interested in. You do not have the ability to produce the results of action. Why? Because that is contrary. That goes contrary to the universal law. That actions are in your hands, but the results are already there as a possibility. And those results come from karma phala data Ishvara. Adi Shankara does not dwell on this, and neither does Bhagavan Vyasa, the author of the Bhagavad Gita, because in those days the bhakti was something that was taken for granted. You can see what are the things that we need to focus on now because of the changes in values and the changes and the challenges to gaining qualifications for this knowledge. I mean, the Atma Ajnanam being the same, it is the same always. The how to teach, what are the things to focus on, and what are the things to bring out, that changes from generation to generation. That changes. And if that changes from generation to generation, then what happens? We have, that's why we have live teachers in the Sampradaya putting everything in perspective and making that same verse number 47, relevant to people in Kali Yuga, relevant to people in different, different times, different places, because the challenges are different. In those days, bhakti was taken for granted. Everybody was a Vaidika, everybody was a Bhakta. And so the bhakti, Adi Shankara does not emphasize that much either here or in the Upanishads. And this also, Lord Vyasa also does not compose a lot of verses on bhakti. Of course, there is a chapter called Bhakti Yoga. That's different. But here he doesn't emphasize that. But to read this verse without emphasizing bhakti would be a mistake, because that is exactly what is needed in the current milieu. Why? Because otherwise the verse makes no sense. So only for work or only for action you are entitled, but the fruits of the results are not in your hands. Then of course the question comes, in whose hands they are. Are they in the neighbor's hands? Are they in somebody else's hands? Whose hands they are? That's why we have to bring in Bhagavan, because these days there is no Bhagavan in anybody's life. There is no Bhagavan in anybody's life. There is very few people are understanding the need for devotion, understanding the need to invite Ishvara into one's life, etc., etc. And so, for those reasons, this has to be read as follows: that you have a right to action, but not to the results, and not to knowledge solely. So, therefore, what do you need to do? You need to recognize that you are not the producer of the results of action. And therefore, stop being a karma phala holic. What is a karma phala holic? Like focused on the results of action all the time. Ma karma phala hetuhu bhu. Do not be the hetu, do not be the cause of being governed by the fruit of action. Do not be a person who is governed by the results of action. Focused on intensely focusing on the results of action, even obsessing on the results of action. Mate sang, then, if that's the case, if I'm not supposed to if I'm not supposed to focus on the results of action, then why act? It's a very common question to ask. So I can't produce the results of action? No. Oh, then why should I act? Let me just sit here in what is that called? Vivekananda pose and not do anything. Only the pose is Vivekananda, okay? Yeah. But one doesn't have the repose that he had. So, so therefore, just the pose. You just tie the hands like this and sit and say, oh, why should I bother acting? I don't need to act. Why should I act? Because I can't control the results of action, so I'm not going to act. It's like saying, I'm not going to win this game, so I'm going to take the ball and go home. You can't do that. So, similarly, here, the last piece of advice is Mate Sangaha Astu. After reading the first line of the verse, may there not be an attachment for you, Sangaha Astu, where Akarmani. Akarmani means in non-action. Because Lord Krishna knows exactly how Arjuna and the rest of us think. Oh, I can't get my way. I can't produce the results of action. So, too bad. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. That's what it is. Sit here and do nothing. Why? Because I'm depressed. Because I'm hopeless. Because I am helpless. And if I'm helpless, then what happens? Then I have no desire to do anything because I can't control anything. This is the premise of this is the premise behind the psychology of these individual thinking. Karmani eva adhikarahate. That's why it is told. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma karma phalahetuhu bhu. Ma te sangostu akarmani. Lots of ma, ma, ma. Ma means don't, don't, don't. And the Bhashya says, Karmani eva adhikarahate na jnana nishtayam te tava. You have only the right to action, but not for knowledge. That's why better make your relation to action and results a very clean connection. Make your relationship to action. Clean up that area from being sullied by ragadveshas, by some kind of pet peeves, etc. So, tatra cha karma kurvatah ma phaleshu adhikarah. Tatra cha means in this context, karma kurvatah, for you who is performing actions, for the person who is performing actions, then ma phaleshu adhikarah astu. Let there be no desire, let there be an understanding that I'm not entitled to be the producer of the results of action. And this is something which is very important to learn properly. Because why am I not the producer of the results of action? They are just not in your hands. Because there are two factors that govern the production of the results of action. What are they? First is variables that you encounter in the course of performing the actions that you can control. What are they? Variables that you can control. Variables that you can control are things such as waking up on time for an important job interview and finishing things by the deadline. These are things that you can try and control as much as possible. Then there are what are called variables that you cannot control at all. Adhidaivika, these are. Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika means things centered on Bhagavan, on forces unseen, unknown. Things centered on your surroundings, you really cannot control. Weather. That's why it's called weather, because you don't know whether it's going to rain or not. And so this is, you cannot control the weather. You can predict it to a certain kind of a accuracy. You can make sure you go out with your umbrella, raincoat, but you can't tell it not to rain. And you don't know exactly when it will rain, especially in places like Eugene, where all the things you want to do, whether you want to walk or shop or anything, has to be done in the rainy season, which it is many, many times, between two raindrops. Between two raindrops, you have to take a walk. Between two raindrops, you have to run the errands. That's how it is. And so you can't control the weather. Adi Daivika. And You can't control so many things, earthquakes, and you can't control the behaviors of people around you. Not just strangers. You don't care about how strangers behave, but you can't even control the behaviors of the significant others in your own family. Friends, can't control. It is exactly this recognition makes one a wise actor. Because no matter how many controllable variables I control, the hidden variable is always there. And this is the famous example of Pujya Swamiji's, crossing the road to catch a bus example. So the person was a very good citizen, looked to the left, looked to the right, there was nothing coming, no traffic. And the bus stop was on the other side of the street, so the fellow crossed the road. But the fellow forgot that it was an Indian road. And what happens on Indian roads? Many, many interesting things. Somebody had eaten a banana and then thrown the peel in the middle of the road. So while the person was looking to the left and looking to the right and crossing slowly, the foot landed squarely on the banana peel, not very appealing. And then what else? And made the person have a instant fall, slip and fall. And instead of being in the bus, the person landed up in the hospital. Hidden variable. No, but why didn't I look down? You tell me, why did the person look down? That's what it is. Hidden variable is a fancy name for karma phala. From where? From previous lives. And this is important to recognize, lest one come under the conclusion or come under the spate of thinking, what? Oh, Bhagavan is stopping me from getting what I want. Bhagavan has other business to do, okay? Yeah. And rather than thinking, oh, this jiva, I'm going to stop them from finishing this work, or I'm going to stop them from getting this result. No. Hidden variable is a fancy name for your own karma, standing in your own account. Oh, I don't remember throwing a banana peel for somebody else to slip and fall in the last life, or even in this life. Well, that's what it is. You don't remember. Last life, who remembers? Nothing you remember. And also, karma is much more nuanced and much more exciting than just this stupid literal. Eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Karma does not operate on Hammurabi's code. No, which doesn't mean literally. I mean, karma is so sophisticated. It operates with a finesse and a side of humor. So you may not have literally dropped the banana peel in the last life, and that's why you have to have a fall on the banana peel in this life. No, it could be much more nuanced. It could be much more, what's its name? Sophisticated, with a sense of humor, the total sense of humor. Karma is very humorous because this is why Bhagavan does not need cable TV. Each jiva's karma unfolding is itself a comedy all the time. Humorous. And so therefore, we cannot say, what can we not say? We cannot say that this is Bhagavan's doing. It's not Bhagavan's doing, it's your own doing that has been gift wrapped and sent to you. It's just like you visit somebody and then you finish the what is that? You finish the visit and leave your coat behind. You forgot in a hurry to catch an early flight in the morning. You forgot your coat. Then on the plane you recognize that you had forgotten the coat, and then or your friend recognized that you left something behind, and then what? They wrapped it and sent it to your address. That is exactly exactly how karma operates. Bhagavan taps you on the shoulder and says, "You forgot something. I have sent it to your address." And since Bhagavan is all powerful, the address includes the address in the next life also. Bhagavan is not in a hurry. You forgot your hat, coat, umbrella. You forgot so many things in the last life. You left it strewn all over the place, and I have sent, Bhagavan will say, all my minions, all these celestials, devatas, to collect everything that you left behind, and then I have gift wrapped it up nicely, written a card, enjoy, or whatever it is, and then sent it to you to your address. It's your own hat. You have to wear it. It's your own bed. You have to lie in it. That's what it is. It's your own things. You cannot blame Bhagavan. Bhagavan will say, what do you think? I'm a sadist or what? I'm first giving you birth and then telling you you can act, but the karma phala is in my hands. What shall I give? No, your own karma. That's why the minting oneself as a devotee is so important, and that's why we spend so many sessions on it. Because without that, there is no way to no way to do this. No way to do it at all. Absolutely. How else are we going to do this? How else are we going to understand this? Without devotion, without Bhagavan, one will go mad. How else are you going to say, oh, I have to make peace with my own doings? It's not possible. Otherwise, one is angry at Bhagavan. Bhagavan becomes an authority figure who is holding your dearest ambitions and goals from you, the great depriver. And so, therefore, the devotion, therefore, the efficacy, the recognition of the efficacy of prayer. Because prayer is an intervention into this karma. Yes. Let's say you left something in your friend's house, kind of intentionally, because you really hated that sweater or coat and you really didn't want it back. And you left it there. And then you told the friend, no, keep it. No, I can't keep it. I'm going to send it to you anyway. And the person sends it. Okay. Prayer is that which intercepts it at the post office itself. That is prayer. And then neutralizes it. So, prayer is that which makes the person, whoever is sending this, you say, wrong address. And then so because of the wrong address, what happens? It goes to the dead office, dead letter office. There is a place where undeliverable mail just goes and is recycled, neutralized, totally destroyed. This is what prayer is. Prayer is your own interception of those horrible karmas that are circling like vultures, and they already know where you live. They already know where you are. And they are going to come. And how many karmas are there? Who knows? How many lifetimes as a human being have you had? Who knows? And even in a one lifetime as a human being, you can accrue endless karma. That is the force of karma. So am I totally helpless? No. Prayer is an action whose results again you don't have a say over, but you can send the intention that may all the wrong karmas for me standing in my account and coming in the way of this particular pursuit of this particular ambition, this particular goal, may all those obstacles be destroyed. You send the prayer as an intention. And then what happens? Then with if the prarabdha, if the karma standing in your account is not too strong, prabala, if it's not too prabala, if it is not too strong, then what happens? Then there is a what's its name? Then there is a um, uh, complete neutralization. Or if it is strong, there is a reduction. There is a reduction. Like the story of that person. There were two fellows who went to who were coming home from Gurukula or something like that, and then they encountered a temple on the way, and one of them who said, "Oh, I just don't." Want to go to the temple. I have nothing to do with Bhagavan. I don't care for Bhagavan. The other one went, and promptly upon coming back from the temple, got bitten by a scorpion as that boy was putting on his shoes. Of course, everybody said he went to the temple and still got bitten by a scorpion. But thankfully, there was a Ayurvedic doctor right there who administered an anti-venom, and then it did not bother him too much. He just had to have his big toe in a bandage for a few days and he became all right. Meanwhile, what happened to the boy that did not go to the temple? Well, he was loitering around waiting for his friend and he found a bag of gold. No, claimers, does this belong to you? No. Does this belong to you? No. Oh, finders keepers. And then, of course, along with the Ayurvedic Vaidya, there was also an astrologer who happening to be there, passing happenstance. He was there, and so they all asked the astrologer. They said, "What do you see this here?" Then the astrologer, looking at the birth chart of both the boys, said that, well, the boy that went to the temple should have actually died. The scorpion was some kind of a rare thing. But then timely help was there because he went to the temple. This particular difficult karma was warded off. And then he was able to survive with a small little bite. And the scorpion he bit his toe sideways and so didn't get the full venom in. Oh, but then what about that other fellow? He didn't even go to the temple, found a bag of gold. Well, the bag of gold was from the king's treasury, where there was some cart that was carrying the bags of gold back to the treasury from some places where the collection had been made. It had upturned, and in fact, he was supposed to have 20 bags of gold, but he only got one. So, like this, there are stories like this to emphasize the efficacy of prayer, to emphasize the recognition that what is wrong karma or the results of bad karma or papa, that is adrishta. Adrishta means I haven't seen it. I don't know what it is like. I don't know how it will come. Whereas the prayer that I'm going to do also releases two kinds of results. One is drishta, meaning I feel satisfied and contented that I have done something, I'm no longer helpless. That is drishta phala, it is evident, it is visible. And then there is also an invisible result. And what is the invisible result? That is also called adrishta. Punya is also called adrishta, punya vishesha. Papa is also called adrishta. Punya, Papa are both called adrishta because that component of the punya and the papa which is not visible to the and not objectifiable, is called adrishta, unseen, invisible. So this adrishta, in the form of that which is generated by prayer, goes and cuts that adrishta, which you don't want to have. So in a way, the prayer inoculates against the bad karma that is coming all the time. And then what else? So so recognizing this, one must be in prayer. When? Always. Ayyo, if I'm always in prayer, who is going to cook, clean, and go to work? Who is going to do that? How am I going to feed myself? Make the cooking prayerful, make the cleaning prayerful, and work, of course, is always worshipful. That is the idea. You don't be the person who is doing prayer as an action. Be a person, turn into a person, Arjuna is told. And by extension, everyone is told. Turn into a person who is what? For whom all actions are prayerful. The attitudinal shift has taken place. And that is what is being pointed out here. And so, तत्र च कर्म कुर्वतः मा फलेषु अधिकारः अस्तु. Don't feel a sense of entitlement to the results of action, because even if you feel entitled, you're not going to be able to produce that. So what is the use? What is the use? It's an empty sense of entitlement. And then he explains, Adi Shankara explains, karma phala trishna ma bhoot. Karma phala trishna means trishna, longing, the thirst. The longing for the results of action, may it completely go by this prayerful attitude, which gives a sense of trust in the laws of Ishvara, and because of this trust, there is that longing, is abated. Because there is a sense of belonging with Ishvara, the longings are taken care of. So, kadachana means at any time. Kasyam chit api avasthaya. Kasyam chit api avasthaya, in any situation. Don't be obsessed with the results of action. So, what should I do instead? Lead a prayerful life. Act for self-growth, not for the results of action. This is a whole lifetime, what is that plan? Whole lifetime, this is what it takes to get mastery over this, over looking at actions as a way of producing some comfort and pleasure, rather, and changing that attitude to seeing actions as a avenue for self-growth. So why not to do this is given in the next line. Yada karma phale trishna te syat, tada karma phala prapte hetuhu syaha. So, very easy to understand this. Yada, when, or yada, it should be whenever, karma phale trishna syat. Whenever there is for you, an attachment or a longing towards the fruit of action. Whenever you long for a particular, not just any fruit of action, a particular outcome, whenever you are obsessed with the outcome, tada, in those situations, then you become, it will, that very thought, that of being obsessed with the results of action, will make you reap that, will make you totally obsessed with the results of action. And that results of action, the focus on the results of action, what happens? You become, you become a dejected, disappointed being. Because if you're obsessed with action, you will be obsessed. If you're obsessed with the results of action, you will be obsessed with the outcome all the time. And you will not be able to act at all. Or you will act with a vengeance. So karma phala prapte hetu, you become the nimitta. You become the nimitta for reaping the results of action. And then you are degrading yourself, Arjuna. You are making yourself so small, and you are making yourself totally not in sync with the laws of the universe. You are going against the law of karma. And how are you going against the law of karma? Because you are trying to do the impossible, produce the result of action when you cannot have any say over the hidden variables. So then further, yada hi karma phala trishna prayuktah karmani pravartate tada karma phalasya eva janmanaha hetuhu bhavet. Supposing I have the so what mentality. Okay, let me be depressed. Let me be obsessed with the results of action. What is it to you? Why are you so interested in trying to change who I am? Let me be, it's my life, my depression, and my frustration of keeping on trying to change something that cannot be changed. What is it to you? Well, are you having a good life? No, I already told you I'm not having a good life. Okay, then would you like to do a repeat performance again in the next life? Oh, there is a kind of a deflation. The balloon of hope against hope that I will be able to influence my karma is gone, is deflated. It's like a pin that is pricked, in a tire. Slowly, the air is let out. The air of aplomb, the air of a sense of control, the air of I am the doer and the shaker and the maker of everything. All that is gone, deflated. Because yada hi karma phala trishna prayuktaha. So, meaning now he generalizes whenever anyone is engaged in action. Prayuktaha means totally propelled towards action. Then how, urged by karma phala trishna. Propelled by what? By the longing for the results of action. Then tada karma phalasya eva janmanaha hetuhu bhavet. Then, as a guarantee, one will be collecting so much karma that it will cause rebirth. What is rebirth? It'll be nice. I'll be in somebody's house. I'll be born. They will say coo to the baby, to the new baby, and then they will, pet me, and then hug me, and then, change me, and then make me grow up. What's so wrong in that? What's so bad in that? That is a nice way to say I'm looking forward to my next birth. Nice way to say that. But usually, birth, even though it is celebrated and babies look cute and all that, but really, birth means what? Birth means it is the birth, it's called birth because it is the birth of all kinds of anartha vrataha. Yeah, so that is what it is. The birth is the birth of a cycle of sorrow. Cycle of sorrow. That's why babies cry as soon as they are born. And then the whole life is a cry. Oh, not this, not that. I don't want this. I don't want that. I had to have this. I have to have that. Then there are the terrible twos. And then there are the, what should I say, complicated threes. And then what should I say, the fours and the fives. And even at 55, that same balloon which was burst by burst by the sibling at age 5 is still being missed. Frozen needs. This is what happens. And so when you think about birth, it's not just the birth. It is the whole sort of things that it ushers. It ushers sickness. It ushers it dangles the prospect of death and fear. It ushers sorrow. All this we have to take into account. It ushers debility because as soon as one is born, one has begun to die, which is the end cycle of birth. And so, therefore, the more you are obsessed with karma phala, the more karma you accrue, you are going to be propelled into the next life. And then what happens? Otherwise, yadi karma phalam na ishyate, kim karmana dukkha rupena iti mate tava sangaha astu akarane pritihi ma bhu. If the fruits of action must not be desired, then, why should I act? Don't go to this depressive state. Let you not be in inaction. Let you go to the place of prayerful action. That is the idea. And then how should the action be performed? I'm at a loss. You tell me not to desire the results of action and instead to just do it prayerfully. How do I do this? What is the master key here to not desiring the results of action and then at the same time continuing with my action? This is exactly how he introduces the Next verse. Yadi karma phala prayuktena na kartavyam karma katham tarhi kartavyam iti uchyate. If it is not desirable to do the action with a longing for the results, then how should I perform the action? This is being explained. Where? In the next verse. Yogasthah kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Important verse, very important verse. Verses starting with 47 very important, 48 also very important, because herein lies, this is important because herein lies the first definition of Karma Yoga. 3 definitions are given in the Bhagavad Gita, and here in the last 3 words, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. This is the first definition of Karma Yoga. Equanimity is Karma Yoga. Yoga, short for Karma Yoga. Okay. So, this is the first definition. That's why this is important. And also it tells us how to perform action without really being result focused, result obsessed. So, Yogasthaha. Yogasthaha means, and of course the translations will all say rooted in yoga, rooted in Karma Yoga. Sthaha means that which stays. Tishtati iti sthaha, the one who stays. So yoge tishtati. So the one who is abiding in Karma Yoga is called Yogasthaha. Karma yoge tishtati. What is Karma Yoga? Karma eva yoga. Karma Yoga. The karma itself is converted to yoga. Yoga means a kind of a union here. Union, restraint, so many meanings are there. Here there is a union. Union with what? With yourself and with Bhagavan. That's why Bhagavan is brought into the picture. So Yogasthaha means, it's very difficult to do action without expecting the results. So it's not that you don't expect the results, but you develop a flexibility to greeting the results of action, even if they are inimical to you, inimical to whatever you wanted, even if they are the opposite of what you wanted. And here I already discussed the 4 possibilities. What are the 4 possibilities? The outcome of the action. There are only 4 outcomes possible. The outcome is in keeping with the action. I wanted to cross the road. I wanted to catch the bus. What happened? I did both. Wonderful. The outcome is better than the action. Like, I wanted to cross the road and catch the bus, but as soon as I crossed the road, a friend in a nice air-conditioned car on a hot day came by, gave me a lift to where I wanted to go. And also we ended up having some coffee together. We had not seen each other. We caught up, which was very, very nice. Scenario 2, the outcome is better than my expectation. Wonderful. Then the story of everyone's life. Crossed the road and missed the bus. And what? The outcome is slightly less than the expectations. Have to wait for the next bus, etc., etc. And then the last scenario we've already seen. Look to the left, look to the right, cross the road. But instead of catching the bus, got banana peelitis instead, and then ended up in the hospital. The outcome with a broken leg, etc. The outcome is opposite of what I wanted. Outcome is the opposite of the expectation. Only 4 scenarios. If you are able to manage the first 2, the other 2 get managed. Usually what happens when the outcome is in keeping with my actions, I get elated, ecstatic. And when the outcome is not in keeping, and when the outcome exceeds the expectations, I become vain and proud. Definitely. Oh, look at what I've done. Where is the you in it here? Really. Even the quote-unquote self-made man, really cannot say, I am self-made. I studied under the street light. Hello, street light was given. The idea to study under it was given. I had two pairs of clothes. One was on the skin, and the other one was drying out in the on a tree branch. Tree branch given. Two clothes, two sets of clothes given. One day I ate dal rice. Another day I ate rice. Rice and dal. That was given. Where is the self-made? Where is the self-made? Only self is there. No self-made. It's all given. And if you don't recognize the giver and connect to the giver in the form of the prayer, then this is obscured. The fact that it is given, one can forget, and then one becomes vain and one becomes proud, insufferably proud, and says, oh, I'm the best, east or west. Last I checked, I'm the best. I'm a doer, mover, shaker. Look at all the things I've done. Look at my resume. Resume means what? What can you do with a resume, really? After the body goes, there is just a dash in the epitaph. There is just a dash. What is the dash? 1957 to 1999, dash, the person's life. So, all the three marriages, the four children, and all the accomplishments is just a lie. What is there? What is there to feel proud about? When all the circumstances are given, one has so much help, much more than one needs. One has so much. Everything is given, 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 given. And if you don't seek in this life to understand the giver, what is the nature of this giver? How does it operate? And we're not talking of the giver is non-separate from me. That is Vedanta, definitely. But before Vedanta, this Karma Yoga is a avenue to assimilation of Vedanta. That we have to understand. I have to make peace with the giver. Pujya Swamiji's words were, I have to settle accounts with Ishvara. What is it to settle accounts? Settle accounts means I'm already angry. It's the angry person that is born. It's the angry person that grows up. Because things are not going my way. I'm always an angry mess. The anger is directed towards the parents and they shake off the responsibility. They're not going to take responsibility. They'll say, you should be grateful that I fed you, clothed you, and educated you. And, go to therapy if you really don't like us. That's what they will say. And then what? And then one is angry at the therapist, one is angry at everything, one is angry at one's own horror scope, one is finally angry at Bhagavan. So making peace with one's parentage, one's swadharma, one's work, and one's spouse, one's children, one's house, one's livelihood, all this is part of making peace with Bhagavan. Bhagavan is not some kind of a guy in the sky that you take some peace treaty or you hold a white flag and say, I surrender. No, it's not like that. The surrender is a cognitive surrender, an acceptance of what is, because I have come to understand what is Ishvara. What is Ishvara? Whatever is in my life, that's a manifestation of Bhagavan. And Bhagavan is immanent here, immanent in the form of all the things. In my own karma phala, I see Bhagavan. Bhagavan manifest as my karma phala is the immanent aspect of Bhagavan. Here we are not talking of the transcendental, from the transcendental standpoint. We are talking of that which is here in everything, in every nama, in every rupa, even in things which cannot be easily objectified like karma phala. It's there, Bhagavan is there. It's not just a mandate or a present from Bhagavan. It is presence of Bhagavan. That's what it is. And so therefore, this has to be understood. And then when I manage the first two outcomes, namely the outcome is in keeping with the expectation, the outcome is better than my expectation. These two needs to be managed in the way that we have talked about. The other two get managed by themselves. If I'm unable to manage the first two, then that ecstasy in seeing myself as the maker, shaker, and doer. And what happens to that? That image falls down. Humpty Dumpty. Nobody can put this back together again. That image falls. And then that's very painful because one is in agony. So ecstasy and agony. Then again ecstasy and agony. Not in this particular order, because then it is bearable. Usually it is agony, ecstasy, little bit. Otherwise it's just agony all the time. A little bit of ecstasy somewhere. And so therefore, this management of the pleasurable and desired outcomes is very, very important by reducing the desire for the outcome itself. It's not removing the desire, it's managing the desires. How? Two kinds of desires are there. The Bhagavad Gita talks about them. One kind are the mild variety. We have also talked about this. And the mild variety is just in the form of a thought, a fancy. Oh, it would be nice to have chocolate cake. Well, the stores are closed and you don't feel like making it, and so you can't have it. Okay, no problem. This is not a harmful desire. But then, supposing the desire is not so free, this is a free desire, so to speak. It's not binding you. It's not sending you, in a spin, in a tailspin. Contrast this to something else. Somebody else has a desire, oh, it would be nice to get married. Little more laden desire than chocolate cake. Oh, I'm not finding anybody. Nobody can love me. And all these things. Much more force in that desire. Has to happen now. Oh, OMG, the clock is ticking. OMG, this is not happening. OMG, I will be alone all my life. This is the agony. And that is why that the second desire is laden with laced with a certain pressure. And that's the not so mild variety of desires, also called binding desires. They bind you to act. They force you into a place of action. I have to do something desperate. I have to do something really, really desperate in order to just, be. I have to do something so desperate. I have to have it now. And then what does the person do? Cut corners in order to get it. Cut all kinds of shortcut. Because I want it now. And the very wonderful example, is in Mumbai. They have some kind of a little park, and then they have put a board. Please keep off grass. And if you keep off that grassy area, you just have to go around. And it takes literally 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes. But what do the people do? They look to the left, they look to the right. Oh, no cops. I'm going to go straight through the park. And then, and that park always has a diagonal bald spot in that grassy area. There is an oval grassy area, and then there is a diagonal bald path with all the people's feet. Right where it says, please keep off grass. That rush, it is called vega, that pressure. And then one becomes callous because, oh, just because I follow the rule and go around doesn't mean the other people are following the rule. And tasmat, this is called tasmat logic, wrong logic, therefore what? Therefore I'm also going to do this. Oh, did I cause that yellow spot in the grass? Did that yellow part? I didn't cause it. And so if I walk on it, what's the harm? this way, a million people think this way. And then poor grass never grows under so many feet. Never grows. And then there is another sign all over the places, in marketplaces and everything. Because in India, there is the unfortunate habit of, what is that called? Betel leaf mixed with tobacco chewing all the time. Betel leaf and tobacco, they create a very strong, bright red color. The mouth is red, and then it, what should I say, activates the salivary glands. And so you have to spit often. And so this has led all the lawmakers to put posters everywhere. Please do not spit here. And the sign itself is covered by red. Completely. So then there is no problem at all, because if you can say there is no sign and I am entitled to spit here. Or you can say, so many people have spat here, so what is your problem? Why are you having a spat with me about me spitting here? Why are you so bothered? Because so many people have. Are you going to clean all that up? No. So then shut up. One more spit is not going to, a few more ounces of saliva, red saliva, is not going to do anything. These are all small examples, but then you can amplify it to, to all the way to grand larceny, robbing banks, etc. They did it in so many, all the movies are about, half the movies are about robbing banks. So what if I do it? No problem. In fact, I learned a thing or two from seeing those movies where the diamonds were stolen and nobody even knew. Right under the nose of the security guard, the diamonds were stolen. What happened? Nothing. That person was rich, and that money which was stolen right under the nose of the guards was dirty money anyway, ill-gotten gains, because that money was in the account of a mafia boss. What are you? Are you a self-styled Robin Hood or what? You're not Robin Hood. You are robbing Hood. That's all. You're robbing. You're not, you can't just sort of say, oh, I'm taking from the rich and giving to the poor. That's just that's just some kind of a delusion. So therefore, the following the path of self-growth is very, very important, and not following all these shortcuts. And about the shortcuts, in the next verse, from this we will have more to see. But right now here is a very beautiful piece of advice about receiving the results of action. Results of action must be received as prasada with prasada buddhi. Prasada means that which is a gift from Bhagavan. A gift should not be refused. It is very uncouth to refuse the gift, even if you don't like it. You can re-gift it later to somebody else, but you accept it with a smile, an attitude of gratitude, and a thank you. Even if you have 10 flower vases and the 11th one is being given by your friend who doesn't know that, or alas, who does know that, doesn't matter. You say, thank you, how nice. I don't have one just like this. And you give it away. Or you give something else away because you can't have it. Or you don't want it. It's okay. Just be sure not to pack it and give it to the same person who gave it to you. Okay, that's the only thing you have to be careful about. Otherwise, you give it to somebody away. One lady came to Pujya Swamiji, very irate, and she had a peeve to pick with her neighbor. What happened? One of the neighbors in her street. So this woman gave this neighbor a present for Christmas. Then after New Year's, that lady had a garage sale, and her present was inside the garage sale. She had spent $35, and this was being sold for a mere $5 on the street, right in front of this lady's house. She got so upset that she bought her own present back. She paid for it twice. So she bought her own present back, and then she was, narrating this to Pujya Swamiji. And of course, Pujya Swamiji being Pujya Swamiji, this very story came out in the very next class that he taught. And so like this, you gift it to somebody else. Don't give it to the same person. Be a little discreet. But any gift is accepted with joy. But you don't say, oh, I wanted this instead of that. Why did you bring me this? That's not correct. And similarly, the gift from Bhagavan is also accepted gracefully at first, joyfully later. You grow into a sense of joy. You grow into a sense of grace. It's okay to complain, just like a teenager would. Oh, this video game you got is out of date. I wanted the latest one. It's okay to complain to Bhagavan also, just like the teenager complains to the parents. This is not a gift. And you can tell Bhagavan, what have you done? I wanted a promotion. Not only you did not give me the promotion, you gave the neighbor who I have to see every day the promotion. How could you do this to me? You can say all this. But it is still prasada. Prasada, you can say, but still it is prasada. And slowly you grow into accepting it gracefully at first and joyfully later on. That is the accomplishment. And that is what is encompassed, all this is encompassed by one simple word, samatvam yoga. Samatvam, that's what. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Karma yoga is equanimity in gaining in receiving the results of action, whether they are in keeping with my expectation or whether they are more than my expectation or whether, alas, they are opposite of what I expect. I have the same attitude of equanimity, and that equanimity is prasada buddhi. That prasada buddhi is equanimity. And therefore, this particular advice, there's a lot more to see, and we'll do that next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Good night, good morning, wherever you